Hi. I want to chat. But I struggle with this. So I am going to pretend like you are the girls in my group chat while I talk to you about it. And I'm going to go back to the beginning of this page. I've written a bunch of notes, but I'm probably not going to use them at all. I lost about 100 pounds a few years back, and some of you might remember that. Some of you, I didn't even know. But I lost a lot of weight, and I don't know if any of you guys understand this, but I was brought up in a family where we knew very much about the repercussions of being bigger in the world. And so I think to try to protect us, it was really encouraged to seek being a smaller size. So I did that. I figured out how to do it and I did it. I lost 100 pounds. And I looked so good by the standards of society. But I felt like shit. Like, I, at one point, turned into the kind of person that I never wanted to be. And I have recently come to terms with a lot of what that was about was that when you lose weight, you have to stop eating as a coping mechanism. And a lot of us, I think, are very sensitive to the world. And so we have to find a way to cope. And, for people who don't have a family history of like eating to cope, it might be alcohol or drugs or trying to save people. And so I did that. So when I took my misplaced coping mechanism away, I honed in on people that I thought needed my help. And in doing that, I really lost my discernment and my own value, because at some point I had decided that my feelings didn't matter. And for a multitude of reasons. But if you've known me forever, you might have seen me as a very emotional teenager. But if you have only known me for a little while, you might know me as somebody who doesn't really have a whole lot of breakdowns. Some of my friends say that, and some people know me as the person I used to be when I did have a lot of really big feelings. And that's not to say that I don't have them anymore, but I'm an adult now. And so when we feel those things as adults, we like to place them elsewhere. Some people get to do it with their kids because they have kids and they decide that they're going to put all of their emotions and feelings into their kids, which can sometimes end up being, people living vicariously through their kids or not being able to deal with their kids doing anything that they think is wrong. I've seen a little bit of that play out in, just kind of my circle recently. That can look like, people who, lose touch with family members because they're not living in the way that their family thinks that they should. It can also turn into a martyrdom situation where you're trying to save the world in things that you can't save. So, we see it sometimes in charities. We see it sometimes in like giving professions and things like that too. And what I've realized is I was coping with all of those feelings that I told myself didn't matter by eating. And then when I stopped doing that, I tried saving. And if you are in survival, you have a really different idea of what saving looks like than what you have if you're not in survival. And also, I don't know, it's really easy to project your opinions on people about what would solve their problems or what would be good for them or what they should do or whatever. And that's the same kind of thing as parenting. Like what we talked about when we can't deal with our kids making decisions that we don't agree with, right? I feel like I'm getting off track, but I don't know. The point is that I lost all that weight and then I lost myself. And it was now that I look back, by conforming to this standard that I didn't believe in to begin with, and trying to prove that I could do it, which, like, of course I could do it. But, and then I just got reinforced with that. I was told by society that I was doing a great job. I was told by society that I was beautiful and that I was worth more. And people were listening to me more. And people were asking me for my opinions and my advice and things like that. And that feels really good. But the problem is when you're doing something that doesn't feel good to you, that doesn't feel right to you, it gets really easy to keep doing that in order to get your needs met. So that need of recognition and value and things like that. Also, like, I could do a whole episode on the way that people treat you differently when you lose weight, but that's not the point. This video isn't for them. The video is for people who have tried everything that the world says you should do to be loved or whatever. And it's for you to know that you can do everything the world tells you to do. And it won't feel as good, even if they all love you, even if everybody loves you. That's not really what you're after. You want to be worthy of that love. And betraying yourself to be worthy of that love just causes a divide in yourself to get these needs met that, like, truly, it's empty. It's absolutely empty. A person listening to you when you're 125 pounds who wouldn't have listened to you at 250 pounds is valueless. To me. Maybe it's not to you. Maybe this isn't for you. But to me, someone listening to me because I'm smaller is pointless. Because they're not listening to me at all then. So I was so miserable and I was so sad and I drank a lot and I hid it very well, which isn't something that I should be proud of, but I was very proud of it because I was being good and I was being easy to love. But being easy to love isn't all it's cracked up to be, for the record, because when you're easy to love, you can be loved by anyone. And being loved by anyone might feel nice. It might feel good in the moment, but it just strengthens that divide within yourself. Because if you're being loved not for being yourself, then you feel less and less safe being yourself. So I did lots of work. I did a lot of work. I went to therapy. And I met new people and I lost a lot of people because I knew a lot of people who were subscribing to the rules. And I get it. It's hard to live in this society without the rules. And if you aren't safe in your life or you don't feel like you're safe, changing that is very hard. So I lost some people. And I built a life where my feelings matter, even though I thought that they didn't before. And now I have access to them and I can express them. So on Monday night, I cried for about 4 hours straight in the room with two of my very close friends. And about just the state of the world and how scary it is and how much there is in it to be afraid of and how much the atrocities that are being inflicted on people and the people that are suffering and people that can't eat while we're wasting so much. And also while there's an abundance of food and we could feed all the people. But anyway, I digress. I cried and cried and cried. And then Thursday I had this sip and speak scheduled at Pemberton Coffee House. And I mentioned to the people at Pemberton Coffee House that I had cried for 4 hours on Monday about the state of the world. The problem is they don't know me. The people at the Sip and Speak, I haven't let a lot of people know me the way that the people that were here with me the other night when I was crying knew me. And that's not to say that everybody needs to know me that well, but it didn't have the impact that it would have if you knew me very well. So it feels important to share, and I'm trying to ask more and more why things feel important or why I want to do things. And I think the point that I'm trying to get across is when you think that your feelings don't care, you misplace the fuel that they are. When you think that your feelings don't matter, when you don't give your feelings the prioritization that they should have, the fuel gets misplaced. And if I think about fuel, I think I could use fuel to fly a plane to wherever. It's 11:11 on this phone, and some of y'all won't care, but it was. I could use the fuel to fly a plane. I could fly, I don't know. If I think of a scenario, I could use the fuel to fly a plane, but I could also use the fuel to run a generator for a very large location where there's no heat. And so I think I've just realized that my fuel for a really long time has been misplaced. And it's when you're trying to save the world or save a person that doesn't want to be saved or can't be saved in that way or whatever, then sometimes you try in the wrong direction. I actually watched Fred Claus last night, and this was hilarious. But Santa Claus in the movie is a saint, obviously, Saint Nicholas, and he is trying so bad to make everybody happy, right? But Fred is his older brother, and he's promised to be the best older brother in the world. And so, but as Nicholas gets older, Saint Nicholas gets older, his mother just keeps praising him and telling him how wonderful he is. And then every time Fred tries to do anything, she's like, why can't you be more like your brother? And I'm like, okay, I get that. Like, that sucks. And not everybody is the same, and you don't want people to be all the same. You got to take people as they are and allow them to share their gifts with you. But then Nicholas goes out, and Fred has gone and climbed up into a tree to be with this bird that he loves. And Nicholas cuts down the tree because he wants to bring it inside so that Fred can enjoy it. But the bird, its house breaks and it flies away. And so Nicholas took the one thing that kept Fred feeling maybe understood. He had said right before that the bird was the only one that understood him. And so Nicholas is trying to make Fred happy, but he's trying in the wrong direction. And he does a lot of damage. And that happens in real life. It happens that, we get really resentful of people that are trying really hard and they want to do good, but it seems like everything they do is just making it worse. And we get really resentful and we get a little bit cynical. And that's what happens as Fred grows up, and he gets really cynical. And, but because he grows up that way, he's like lying and conning and trying to do so much. And he really hates his brother because he's like, God, I hope none of you have never seen this, but he hates his brother because his brother does all this good. And he just knows that his brother does it for attention. He likes attention, which obviously the idea is that St. Nicholas doesn't do all the things that he does for attention. But it makes sense that Fred thinks that, because that's what St. Nicholas has gotten his whole life. He's got attention for doing these good things. So then Fred doesn't actually do any good things in the beginning, but he tries to make it seem like he is, because he knows that people will praise him and love him, and maybe he'll get away with things, or he'll get off being charged with things or whatever. He tries really hard to look like he's doing some really good things. But it's all with the energy of trying to get something. And so it's interesting to think about the things that we do for people and the energy behind them. Because if we're doing things for people to try to get something, Well, for one thing, we're probably not looking at them very closely, so we're maybe trying in the wrong directions and driving them away. But also, if we stay resentful of other people that have tried in the wrong direction, then we can become cynical and end up feeling like, well, why me? We can become resentful. And that was somehow my why as to why I wanted to share this. I think it was just, in the end, you realize that if you let go of trying to do what society tells you is going to make you the best or the most lovable, even though that feels like a leap because you've built this life around all the things that you think are going to make you lovable, like losing a bunch of weight or being really pretty or having all of the best things that you can have, or giving all of your time to a charity and or all of your time to work and bragging about how tired you are, or being a chill girl, or agreeing with whatever the man says in the room, or taking care of people even though you don't want to or you don't have the capacity to. All of those things, when you do those things to try to get love and attention, number one, anybody who understands energetics can tell. And you know what you're doing. And we're coming into a time in the world, in my opinion, that it's just not working anymore. So I spent some time really sitting with myself, and I cried for 4 hours for my friends, about how hard the world is right now, even though my life is absolutely beautiful. And I realized that, number one, I can cry in my house for 4 hours about it because my feelings matter. And if that means I don't get anything else done that night, then that's okay, because it matters that I feel that way. And it also informs the kind of life that I want to live. It's like, if I don't let any of that come up, then I don't really know what I'm looking for in life. I don't really know what I want, or what will make me feel good, or what will make me light up, or make my life as happy as it could be, because it can be so happy. So if I don't let myself feel any of that, then I don't really know what I need, But also, I can't just let myself feel it and then not do anything with it, because it's uncomfortable to acknowledge a privilege or acknowledge your happiness or whatever. How dare I not acknowledge my privilege? How dare I not acknowledge how beautiful my life is? Whatever the reason is, how dare I not acknowledge that, and how dare I not enjoy it? There are so many people in the world who don't get to. And having my feelings and making them matter lets me know that I'm the kind of person who, in order to live my happiest life, I have to be doing something. I have to be doing something that helps people. But I also need my needs met. And I need them met through being myself. And so that is allowing myself to cry or lay in bed until 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday, because that's who I am. Some people can't do that, and that's okay. It doesn't mean I'm lazy. Doesn't mean I'm avoiding anything. But, it's like having the feelings and then doing something about it. Sometimes that's writing, sometimes it's performing, sometimes it's being a police officer, sometimes it's being a teacher or whatever. But if you don't let yourself have those feelings, you really don't know what you're looking for in any of those things. And then you get resentful when you don't get them, or you get them and you think you should have gotten something else. Know yourself and what you're looking for. Know what your satisfaction and success is going to come from. It's the only way you're going to get it. I love you guys. Stay hydrated and be nice to yourselves.